Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, everything in between and outside, welcome to the Black Men Discuss podcast, where today we're going to start off with discussing something that adults hate discussing.
What's that, man?
Unless you're an accountant. Budgeting.
The big B word.
The big B word. I have not mastered that shit.
Neither have I. I'm still working on it, honestly. Like,
I am some shit at budgeting. I've tried to sit down. Somebody told me a real simple rule one time. They were do 50, 30, 20. 50% is what you put to the side. 30% is what you use for what you need. And then 20 is just play money. When I did the 50, 30, 20 thing and I saw what I would get for each thing, I was like, no, fuck this. No, I can't do this.
You can't do it.
It takes this.
It takes big discipline.
You know who's really good at that though? Our guest for the day, my lovely girlfriend, Evelin.
Hey guys, yes, I love budgeting. Thank you. Yeah, it is hard for some people, but not for me. I feel like out of necessity, I learned to budget at a very young age, so it became part of my normal day to day.
That's crazy.
But it is hard. I agree.
Yeah,
especially
it is.
when you're like, damn, that's all I have for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all I'm gonna be left with if I do. No, I can't.
So then that selfish voice in the back of your head is like, nah, I deserve more than this.
I deserve more than.
I deserve more than this.
You know what I'm saying? I deserve a salad. I can get a salad, but I deserve a shrimp salad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I deserve one with all the fixings on it. I deserve all that.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. I work too hard.
Why am I cheat myself?
Yeah.
No.
Why would I do that?
Or you can save for the long run and then have several of those.
But I want that too.
You can't have both.
I know.
You want your cake and you want to eat it too.
Yeah. All right now.
Yeah. I want all of it.
No, it's a struggle. Do y'all feel like maybe women are just better than most men at budgeting? Is that a man versus woman thing?
I don't think so. So I think it's a lot of dudes that know how to budget.
But the reason I ask that is because you hear in most marriages, while the men make the money, they let the women handle the finances. I was just talking to my mom about it last night. And she was like, most of the men that she knew would be like, here's my check. You take out what you need to take out to take care of the house.
Yeah, that's how I think. I think that's how my parents and my grandparents were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they my father would bring home money. Or but that's strange though, because my mother would make money and she didn't give it to nobody. It was hers, and then my father would come.
Give her.
His
money.
That sounded like my mom. I think I agree with you, JaVae. I don't think it has anything to do with women and men, because I have one of my best friends. The man can plan a vacation under $2,000 and you're going to Jamaica. But I do think that is very common. At least for me, that was common. My mom ran the money because my dad sucks. Love you, Dad. But he sucks at managing his money to this day. And I've always been the person that's kind of managed the money on my end too. So I don't know. I think it depends on the person and where that stems from.
Yeah. For me, I'm good at planning certain things when it comes to my money. I don't know what it is. I just get I think I have a bigger emotional investment with my money and shit like that. I'm always thinking about all the shit I deserve and you know what I'm saying.
What you work hard for.
Yeah, what I work hard for. Am I gonna be dead tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe I should buy this today. I always think of stupid shit that to have an excuse to get that thing I know I don't need.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing I think I struggle with the most, because I always been like, oh, damn, I'm saving all this money. I can't take it with me. I could die right now. And then what am I going to do with all this money I saved?
Do you think it's, even though we suck at it, do you think it's you think it's a thing everybody needs to do? Especially now, where everything is fucking expensive. Going out of the house, it's hard for me to not spend at least $120 every time I go out of the house.
What you think, babe?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think anybody can benefit from that one, because you get to maximize your money, right? I find, because I sometimes even have my impulsive moments, that if I don't plan, I tend to spend more money than I do when I actually plan. So I'll give y'all an example, because Ronell always is like, oh, what if you die tomorrow? You're not going to get buried with that money.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, my thought process is thinking about like the long term. And so I remember growing up, like we would go to Myrtle Beach every year, right? And I knew that I wanted to go shop. And I love my bags. I'm bougie. I like to spend a lot of money on them. So I would save up like a stack. And I'd be like, all right, I won't go out. I'll put this money away so I can like, and it was always like worth it. Sometimes I wouldn't even spend that stack. I would just still have like, $600 free to do whatever I want. So I see the pros and cons. I think having a balance is good. Like, don't be too tight where you're like not enjoying it, but also don't overindulge when you're
Don't be
like
loose with it.
Yeah.
Leon, you struggle with or have you struggled with it? Like budgeting?
I used to. But no, actually, when I was a kid, my first job, we was sweeping streets, so we got like paid like $10 an hour. And I was like the only person. I would save all my money so I can buy school clothes. And they're like, how you buy school clothes with $10 a day? I'm just like, I wasn't buying nothing else. Y'all was spending on food.
Right.
Yeah. Food is the number one thing for me. I spend so much fucking money on food.
How much you think you spend? That's me though. Like, I'm about to cut that shit out.
Yeah.
Like at work, when it's time for lunch, I be telling myself like, nah, I'm gonna just eat when I get home.
Yeah.
But then you smell that shit.
And weed.
Yeah.
Weed is a big one for me.
I can't get that up though. I just gotta find a way to work it into the budget.
Yeah. That's why I used to, I'm pregnant now, but when I was smoking, I used to buy it was just cheaper for me. If I bought KDs, I'm spending too much money. And then I have 3 kids. I have responsibilities. So I'm like, all right, if I want to play, I got to make sure I'm like putting my money in buckets so that I can like still indulge in the things that I want to do, but not like overindulge and be broke. Because that's one thing I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a home where we were very limited on things. I think that also helps with me saving like for stuff. I don't, I'm very like frugal. I'm like, do I really need that $30 salad?
Or can I make it at home?
Shooting from the hip real quick.
Ep.5.
Does money buy happiness?
No. You look at all the celebrities, right? And you sit there and you be like, damn, they making like millions and billions of dollars to have basically what we wish we could do.
Is it because they stupid? Is it because they stupid though? Is it because they stupid? Like they say once someone gets like a certain amount of money, like something happens to your psyche, right? Like you become less cautious because you have so much more. Like other people see that you have more, so it affects the way that you you conduct yourself. Like you literally like they say like everybody always say, if I had money I wouldn't change, but it's literally like something in your brain that like changes.
Right.
It does something to your ego. It does something to like the way you see yourself in the world and the way you see yourself against other people, because that's the type of money that power has. The power that money has, I should say.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, like, most of my problems I feel like would be better. Like I would be better off if I had like money to like solve it.
Is that because like you in debt? Like,
I ain't like
you got student loans?
Yeah, but it ain't like crazy.
It's not. It's like not that like high ass.
Mine is like $10,000.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah. mine isn't that crazy, but
I don't know though, because even if you look back at that interview, I think with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And he said like, he was like, people came up to him and asked like, you one of the most
the decorated
boxes of all time. You got all this money and like, but he said, nah, that still ain't make me happy. Being in prison made me happy because I had peace.
Yeah, I saw that interview. Yeah. I saw that interview. Yeah.
What you think though, baby?
I think I don't make a ton of money, but I would say for starting up and when I was struggling and then coming up to where I am now, it does change your mindset. One, because you have more money, you have like the ability to do a lot of things you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
And I actually have a few friends and colleagues that have like a lot of money, but one of the things that they say is while they do get to indulge in certain things, there's a lot of sacrifices that come with making the money, and sometimes that can rob you from that joy. You do like have a sense of security, right? Because everything is paid off, so you don't have to be concerned about that. But also think about the toll that it takes, even being like, for example, an athlete, like the toll that takes on your body and your mental health. Being an actor, an actress, like being like in the limelight all the time. So everything has pros and cons. Like us poor folks, like
Yeah.
we struggle out here. We're thinking about how to pay our bills, but folks that are making that money, they also have to invest that time into.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount.
So it's pros and cons.
I used to think acting was easy, and I saw everything that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot that goes. I still love it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like, I like seeing like how much like actually goes into it. Like, dog, it's a lot.
It makes you appreciate it more though.
Absolutely.
But
It made me want to do it more once I saw.
yeah, but even like going back to like the money and happiness thing, like you were saying, like you when payday comes around, it makes you happy because you look in your account, you like yes. But then the instant realization, like damn, half
this shit about to be gone.
Yeah, half this shit is about to be gone. Like
Sometimes most of it in like the same day.
in the same day.
Oh my God, yes. Like during like rent week, I have to like all that money is gone, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, like you gotta pay rent, bills.
40 hours down the drain.
40 hours and in a day that shit damn near gone.
Depleted.
Yeah. Like so that happiness is temporary. Because the same way you earned that money, it could be gone just like that. Shit, look at how many celebrities and athletes done.
That's because they do shit like what Jonathan Majors did. And like,
Or John Morant.
Just start like
Make stupid decisions.
they make stupid decisions, man.
But I guess that goes into the importance of budgeting and investing your money in all the right places.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm scared to make investments because I always saying like, yo, what if this shit tank? Like I know it's a gamble. It's a gamble, like, it's a gamble just like any money making endeavor is, right? It's like you put time and effort into it and you hope that it brings you something. But damn, that investment shit scared.
it's scary. You gotta lose money to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but another piece of that is financial literacy. And I feel like, at least as a minority, I didn't really learn that until I got older.
Yeah.
Versus like some of my white colleagues, they're like, oh yeah, I invest in this, and I have a 401k outside of like my work for, and I'm like, it's things that I didn't even know that you could do. I think that's something that, at least for my kids, I want to make sure that they're aware, like building credit, having a credit card like at a young age. All of that affects you. Like if you're going to college and you want to move out, like you can't even get into your own apartment. Like it kind of all builds into that. So when you, like me, I'm 32, I had to build my credit on my own, had no idea how to do it. Like I feel like that also impacts like how you budget and how you move, how you invest, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm about to be that guy.
Right.
I'm about to be Charlemagne the God.
Oh no.
Right? I'm about to be real ignorant with this statement. If I offend anybody, oh well. But I'm about to say it. I don't mean to.
He said, "Fuck y'all."
Not
Basically. But I don't mean to offend. But if it offends you, oh well.
Oh well.
Do y'all think you say some of your white colleagues, right?
I mean, I would say some of I do have some like, Black and Asian colleagues that they're aware, but I also realized that they went to either a primarily white school or they had parents that were well off. So
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to get at. But do you think it's because like they were of other minorities, more so like white or Asian or what have you, that they were already handed the tools to know how to deal with that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Versus
Because the fact of the matter is there's certain minorities that I've like kept away from that shit on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
their families were either already deep in money or
yeah.
so that shit they already had the tools to know like what to do.
Yeah. Also, I do feel like that's an excuse we give ourselves because we are in the information age and this like all this shit is like readily available.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's both. I think it's both things. I think two things can be true. I think they do have that knowledge because it's like they do have money in like their communities and so forth like that, stuff like that. And maybe we not handed that knowledge because we don't have as much. But it's also because like we don't take that time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people put the time into the things that are like most important to them,
They prioritize.
Yeah. So I also think it's a matter of like changing your mindset to be like, this is important. I should learn this. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not succeeding. But I'm trying
what matters the most is whereas you trying.
Yeah. I'm not succeeding at this shit though.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
I mean, I agree and disagree with you to a certain extent. I think sometimes it is that some folks they're like, oh, whatever, it's not important. But I think sometimes other folks really don't have time to prioritize that, and it's not even to go on anybody like low income. I was low income. I was raised by a single mom. But I feel like when you're in that place, you have to prioritize like feeding your kids, getting like paying the rent, making sure your kids are good. And sometimes that's not in the forefront. And it's not even around financial just literacy. I think even for me growing up, like they're like, go to college, but no one like really walked me through that process. Yeah. Versus now, I do agree with you. There are a lot. These kids have so many more resources to like, actually take advantage of. And so like that's one of the things that I like to try to bridge the gap in, just trying to like educate folks, especially like minorities, like, hey, you can do this, you can do that. My daughter's part of the college track program at
shout out Melly.
And I love that program. It's like I had no idea it was like right around the corner. It walks kids through. It's a 10-year program so they can like get into college at an affordable cost, which is like things that like you don't know, but like these are the things I'm talking about. Like spread the word for those things. And I wish there was more financial literacy in schools and even for parents, because a lot of times it's like more so ignorance, not on purpose, but because that information wasn't readily available to you.
Right.
And I think that's the same thing our parents preached to us. Like when we were growing up, and they be like, man, y'all got, like once Google and shit came out for us, they be like, damn, we still had old leatherback textbooks. And y'all got the internet and Google. And now that's like who is repeating with us and like this next generation.
They have way more. Like we had Google, like they have like the AI
programs and shit.
The AI shit now. I was showing Ronell this shit. I said, let me see what this shit is about, because I've been hearing Leon, you heard the chat GPT thing?
I heard about it. I ain't never used it yet.
I went on there and like I had this idea for like a clothing line that I had for like a long time. I was like I ain't never write the business plan for it because I'm lazy. I'm like, yo, let me just get this thing to write the business plan for me. Within what I want to say 5 minutes, it wrote out step by step, like step by step, like Ronell, look at this shit. And I turned my camera on and faced it towards the screen, and like it just wrote it. It's like it's a language platform, so you could say write this paper like so and so will write it, and it'll sit there and it'll write it based off of like what it finds on the internet to like match up with what it is you requested. It's crazy.
Like he was telling me, like he was like, oh, we want to write a business plan for like our company, like and he's like, write a business plan like Bill Gates would write it, and it literally wrote it
detailed. Like detailed, like how, like probably very close to how like Bill Gates would like format his business, because it's a language.
I'm salty because I write my business plan.
She's a grant writer.
We do grant writing because I'm in the like nonprofit sector, so like now I'm jealous of them. I do agree with you though. There's a lot of resources out there, but here's another thing like that I realized, that there's a lot of resources, but a lot of communities don't know that. I will say, at least for the Hispanic community, it's so much ignorance around that. Like I have been trying to be like a liaison between that, like especially with my daughter's friends, like, oh, like join the Girl Scouts, like that's like something, that's a networking opportunity, and it shows girls like how to be outgoing, all this other stuff. Like they like I would say, I'm not speaking for all people, but I'll say for at least the folks that I've interacted in my community that are Latino, they don't find the importance in those like networking opportunities, like how that can connect and support you in college and all the other stuff. It's just like go to school and get a job and get a career.
I have a 2-part question for you, babe. For the Latino or Latinx community, in your experience, what was the importance of finances? Like how was it taught to you? How was it brought up to you? And then B, going back to when we talked about like the roles, like, oh, who's better at managing money, men or women? Were there like specific roles that were played in the finances?
I think for me specifically, and just my family, we were taught the importance of like saving. So like Ronell makes fun of me for this. I'm putting myself on blast, but I'm like, oh, don't waste like too much like soap. Don't do this. And he's like, what? And I'm like, use a quarter size of body wash. That's too much. Like, and it's because it's in my brain. Like when I was younger, my mom was like no waste. My daughter jokes that I like literally can make a meal out of anything because we're taught to use everything. Like whatever meal we're making on one day, we were like, if there was leftovers, we use it for the next day. So
if she had a burrito, she like, and somebody didn't eat the burrito, she'll scrape the rice out that burrito and then make like a whole like another meal with that.
No, but it's like a serious meal though. Like it's like not no BS meal. It's like not like, so it's just I didn't know that other people did not function like that, okay? Until I grew up and I was like, oh, okay, so this is like not normal. Okay, got it. I also didn't know that I grew up very, very poor. Like I honestly did not know until I got older and I was like, wait a second. And I started to connect the dots because my parents never made it seem that way.
Yeah.
So that was one part. I think that's where what I said earlier, that's where kind of like my budgeting piece kind of came in because I was taught from a very young age to be very like grateful for what I had and very careful of like the resources that we had because they were limited. And to the second part of that question, for me, my mom was a single mom pretty much until I was about 7 years old. She then, remarried and he's my stepfather, but he's the only father that I know. I call him my dad. And so my dad, he recognized like he was not really good at managing the money. My mom was, so my dad would give my mom his check and my mom would manage everything. Eventually they evolved a little and they made an agreement where he would pay the mortgage and she would pay utilities, groceries and stuff like that. And he'll pay like the car insurance. So like, because he made the bulk of the money, like, he was responsible for most of the expenses. And then my mom is a super saver. Like I kid you guys not, my mom paid off my dad's truck. Shout out to my mom.
Shout out mommy.
That was 50 stacks, okay? And she just, so that dynamic really worked for them because my dad, while he did have the opportunity to make more money, my mom was way more better at managing it and was more responsible. And again, my mom's background, my mom grew up in a farm. She's super poor. Mom died when she was 10. She's a twin, so her and her twin pretty much like raised themselves. And so that mindset kind of evolved into like who she is now. And she's a very frugal person, like very, very good at saving. I give her kudos to that. And to this day, it's still like, that's the dynamic that they have.
Which leads me to an overall question. Right, kind of going back to the roles, right? In our society in this generation today, right? Think about the one thing we always hear the most when it comes to dating. These women are looking for men to pay all their bills.
Well, let's go. Right? Let's go. I was waiting to get here.
I have thoughts. I'm like the bro in my crew, so I hear a lot of this.
Yeah, like women are looking on. They want to be stay at home like partners, moms, wives, whatever.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, JaVae.
Yeah. You been
No. So I have like an honest question.
Go ahead.
When did that shift happen? Because remember, there was like before this, it was like a whole big wave where it's like, women were like, oh, like, well, we really don't need men anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a whole big thing like, oh, we really don't need men anymore. We can make money, which they can. I'm not saying like they shouldn't.
Right.
What I'm saying is, when did the shift happen where like suddenly people are starting to realize like, oh no, we can't do this alone. You know what I'm saying? Like
we need men now.
Yeah. Like when did this shift happen?
I don't think it ever shifted. I think there's always been women that have wanted that sense of security. Some women wanted to make their own money. I know several different like situations. One where women make their own money and they still want their husband to like be financially responsible for stuff, and their husbands are okay with that. Some women that just really be like, no, I'm not about to work, you need to pay my stuff. and then whatever. And then some women that are independent and they're like, you know what, I make my money, I still want my partner to be successful, and that's cool. And then I know some women that don't mind being the breadwinner. Like there are some women, they're like, they're okay. They're like, you know what, I have a friend actually who she is the breadwinner and her husband like is pretty much the stay-at-home dad. He has a part-time job, but it works for them. And the kids are fine. I just feel like it's frowned upon when men do that, but it's okay when a female does it. Double standard. But I don't necessarily think that's always true. I think social media also twists that because these IG models, some they want somebody that pay the bills and Chanel and all this other stuff. And I mean that's cool, but I think me personally, I make a good amount of money, and I've always been really independent.
Damn good amount.
I mean, I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm able to be I have a sustainable life. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm able to put my money away, but I don't think I'm like, Ronell, you have to pay all my bills. No, I think I want both of us to be financially stable. I don't know about the roles piece. To me, it doesn't really that could very much change, right? Because when my parents got together, my mom made more money than my dad.
That was the same thing with my mom.
Money always changes.
Yes.
Yeah, you could be balling the day for tomorrow. You could be up. Yeah.
My mom had, not to cut you off, but because I want to hear more about what you said. But like you were saying, your mom made more than your dad. My mom made more than my dad. But the agreement, my mom was like, I'm not with you for your money. You know what I'm saying? I can take care of myself. I can take care of what I need to take care of with my money. Your money is an added bonus, but that's not why I got with you.
Yeah.
So the agreement my parents had was my mom did what she did with her money. My dad gave what he could give, and that worked for them.
Yeah.
He took care of whatever, he needed to take care of on his part, and she took care of, the rest.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, my dad gave her his check and said, here, leave me this amount of money to play with. The rest of it, take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And even when I got with Evelin, that was one of the things. She asked me, she said, does it bother you that I make more money than you? And I said, no. It doesn't bother me.
When a girl asks me that before, I say yes.
Yeah, I used to get that a lot.
Yeah.
Dating wise?
Yeah. Like I say yes. Because And I know it's probably not true. It's probably not true. But in the back of my mind, I always think
you gonna use this.
I know what you was about to say.
What was I gonna say?
Well, this is what my guy friends say. This is the reason why they don't want their girls. They're because if it kind of goes back to stop it. I can't. So even if you move into a girl's house.
Yeah.
Most men feel this is according to my friends, right? That the women's in control and they're gonna rub it in their face and make them feel less than, and use that way as to manipulate them, which I think some women do.
I think some women do it and don't realize they even doing it.
No.
I think
they know.
I think they
they
realize it.
You think they know?
Yeah.
And
they're vindictive, man.
No, it's not even that. Stop. Not all.
Not all women. But it's some vindictive. We're not going to ignore that.
No. I'm not. We're not. Listen.
But go ahead.
But here's the thing. Here's what I've seen in my experience is sometimes it's other people in your ear trying to say, why you messing with him? What he got to offer? And then I'm but
you could do better.
But y'all got these dudes that make all this money and treat y'all like shit. So I'm at the end of the day, I could be up now and then be down in a year.
Yeah.
So
that's how money.
The tables can turn. But I do understand your hesitation with that. I think it's really going to be a case-by-case basis. If you see the intentions are there, where the person's really not.
Yeah.
Some women be no, it don't matter. And then they'll be resentful. And then that's where that shit starts.
Yeah.
And so you got to be mindful of that. For me, like I said, I've always been independent. So I him being financially stable is also in the long run going to also benefit me, but I want it to benefit him too, because it's something positive for him too, to be able to meet his goals and have the things that he wants. So if you have a mindset like that, it's a partnership, you're a team, versus I make more money than him and what he got to offer. And money doesn't, it's not everything, at least in my opinion. Now if you a bum, and this goes for males and females, and y'all probably hate me for saying females, but if you're a bum and you're really not trying to do anything, like to get better yourself, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Like if you have no drive,
no
like
drive, no ambition. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about hopping from job to job, because nowadays there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, as long as you growing and you're excelling, it does not matter. Hop around until you find something that like meets your needs. But if you're a bum, yeah. But if you're not, like, I'm like, again, money changes though.
Can I ask you a question on that? When you said there's no issue with jumping from job to job, right? Most women feel like there's an age limit to that. Like at a certain age, you should
you should be stable.
You should have a job, and you shouldn't be. So, is there an age limit on, like, if I'm 45?
Absolutely not. I strongly disagree with that. And the reason why is because now that's like some old shit. Like that must have been, that was back in the day. That's the same thing with like degrees. Like, yes, degrees are important and kudos to those that do have their degrees. But now 9 times out of 10, like some of these tech companies, they don't care if you have your degree. If you have the equivalent experience, that's fine. And then another thing I've also learned is us minorities, we believe everything we hear. Sometimes do the research for yourself. A lot of my colleagues who are like older white people, they bounce around from jobs. I used to work for a nonprofit, and one of the CEOs said that she zigzagged her way to the top. And what she meant by that was like she bounced around, like she went from one part of the company to another part of the company, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there is a cutoff time like for that. Now, if you're talking about hopping around a job and like you getting fired from a job, that's a different story. But if you're hopping around and actually excelling in something and you're actually growing, that's experience. That's like your resume building up. Like I said, that's some old shit. No one actually follows that anymore. People are encouraged to like move on, and most folks don't last in companies more than like 1 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
Do you know what somebody said to me that I think about every time now that we like whenever I hear conversations about this, like as far as like roles and all this? Back in the day, whenever like in old times when men used to go out and like kill buffalo and shit to like, you know, feed their family and all of that, right? Do you know who had the most women in their tent at the end of the night? It was the one who could provide the most. You know what I'm saying? The one who went out and killed the most. The one who went out and, you know, protected the tribe the most, so forth and so on. So I always thought like it was always like this old like it's that old,
like old mentality.
Yeah, it's like it's that old mentality. I think it's hard for like people to let go because it's gone on for such a long time. It's older than what people give it credit for. Like people will say, oh, like back in my parents' day, like this was how like a household was ran, not realizing like, yo, this goes back like way before even that.
And it's that same mentality, like you said, where the man has to provide everything.
The man has to provide. The man has to be a fucking warrior.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
Because apparently, like
you have to be a warrior.
Because if not, then that makes you less of a man.
It makes you less of a man. Why can't you kill this buffalo the same way this nigga can?
Yeah.
Why aren't you special like him? It's a old like
it's that old mentality.
That old mentality that like, yo, you have to be like supreme in order to have like the everything.
Yeah. What you think, Leon?
And there's a lot of things, but overall, just I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
But
it's true though.
It's very complex and it's complicated. I think a lot of things can be true at once.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but I think it also creates this misconception of like all men need to do is provide. And I could tell you, even from my firsthand experience as like, you know, I'm divorced, so like dealing with somebody that's like Latino, and their mentality was, well, if I provide, I don't have to do anything else. And it wasn't like to a default, it wasn't his fault, because it was like what like we're raised on essentially.
Yeah.
But you know, being a partner, and I'm not talking about like male and female, is you know, specifically as a person, you're more than what you provide financially. It's also how you support your partner emotionally, physically, like how you support your kids. Like it's more than just one piece. And I think that people are so focused on a man providing that's all they hyper focus on, and then get mad when they lack on certain certain areas.
And the whole like idea of like, oh, a man has to provide and all of that, I don't think anybody takes into account how damaging that is for like a man to go through your whole life feeling as though like I can't have like love, right? Or I can't have like a family if I'm not killing myself to provide for it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like and that's why like a lot like dudes die younger like normally than women do, because
it's a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of pressure. It's actually like it's like an epidemic. Like dudes die like in their 50s. And shit, because we worked hard like our whole life and killed our bodies and shit.
Do you think? Remember when we used to work at Miller and Long?
Yeah.
And the toll that took on the body.
Yeah.
And then like the old
shit they whole life.
Like the old ass men that were there, and they were like, "You got to work hard if you want to like move up, but you got to work hard."
It's that mentality.
That old mentality.
And they all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Their body, they making money, they making bread with their body.
At what cost?
At what cost? Yeah, you have to ask yourself.
Because then now they like, oh, my knees fucked up, my back fucked up. Yeah. You know, I had surgery this time,
and I used to think that type of mentality would make you strong. Like, oh, you got to get out and grind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fight for it. But like real shit, like is that mentality is damaging.
Yeah,
it's damaging. You'll end up working less because of it. Actually,
I feel like millennials are like really hip to that though. I feel like it's more like to like men's mental health and like a lot of the. You know how men have been silenced in a way, because you're like, oh, he's a man, so he's supposed to like be tough. He's supposed and
suck it up.
We forget that like men are human too, and that you know that sometimes they don't have a way to express their feelings, and if you express your feelings, you a bitch, you soft or whatever. And to my surprise, this is something that my male friends have told me, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Some females really hate when men express their feelings. They be like, oh, you a bitch, sensitive. Like what? You sensitive as fuck, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like they'll like stop talking to them, or they'll be like, oh, like won't you like you like if you don't hit me, you don't love me type of mentality. Yeah. And so I'm like, it's like on top of having that financial pressure of like I have to provide, I have to do this, I have to do that, and like not have an outlet. Like I think that's really like a lot of self-torture.
Yeah.
Is some men getting soft though?
Ooh.
I think it's a thin line.
Yeah,
I don't see nobody fighting outside no more. Man, I don't be in no neighborhoods where people fighting that either.
Well, now these kids is just fucking shooting.
Yeah, they shooting.
Yeah,
and nobody's getting it out.
So I guess that is a type of softness. I guess
it's a softness in a sense of they stopped fighting and they started resorting to shooting, right?
Because they want to know what it feel like.
They want to feel that power taking a life like. Gives, and it's because like they're soft now. Like you look at a nigga the wrong way, now he ready to shoot you.
Well, and it's also like in this day and age, like if you kill somebody, potentially it's a come up. Like you kill,
it's glorified.
Yeah, it's glorified. You kill somebody, you ain't had no prior charges, you go to jail for a little. Especially if like you like their age, you go to jail.
God, yeah.
You gonna come out, you gonna have a body on you. You can go to your friend, have them put together a stupid little beat for you, and then you can rap about it.
Snitch on yourself.
Yeah, snitch on yourself. Yeah, then you can rap about it, make a bunch of money. You know, it's like not like these days. It's like Black Death is an industry.
Yeah.
No, for real though. That's
Black Death. Yeah. Black Death is an industry. So do I think men are getting softer now? Yes, I do. But I don't think it's like it's a good. I think it's a good and a bad. So I think it's a good thing that men are becoming more expressive these days. Like we're less afraid. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good thing. But I also think like there's less like structure. There's less honor these days. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Nobody's living by anything really anymore. It's
no code for it.
It's no code. It's just
the balance is kind of thrown off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember the codes back in the day when they just say, "Oh, no women and kids"? Like men had that honor code. Well, now it's women and kids. Everybody,
anybody.
No holds barred. Yeah, anybody.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, anybody.
We were just reading that article on IG about that pregnant girl that got shot up in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They shot her in the car and then they threw her out into traffic. And
see what I'm saying?
I was just like, what? Like, like
it's no honor.
Yeah.
But circling back to what you said about like that old like grind mentality and how you said like now millennials now are realizing that that's not the way to go. Because you remember when we talked about this like a lot, like when we would like wake up for like work in the morning, and we'd be like, bro, I'm not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it.
And then we would hit each other up and be like, you went to work? And you'd be like, nah.
No.
Like,
we call that all the same.
Yeah, we never planned it. Like
I think a lot of millennials are prioritizing mental health.
Yeah.
So kudos to those that are getting help. You know, mental health is real. And then also, in my experience, also like taking care of yourself with like the work at home balance. Because the way that I was brought up, you had to work your ass off. And then I work, like I said, in the nonprofit sector where you have your job and then you have like 20 other jobs. And so like that's like a thing. Burnout is real in my field. So now that I'm in a different role, I feel like I have a better like
work-life balance.
Yeah. And I used to feel guilty about that too. So I don't know. I feel like, yes, there's some good things about that. People prioritizing their mental health. I think that was something that like was more so geared towards women. Now there's like more men that are, getting help. I wish there were more like male therapists, male black therapists, female black therapists. Like representation is a lot. It means a lot in these like particular like cases. One, because me dealing with my mental health, I know I'm jumping around, but
no, that's actually like that's gonna be like something we bring up. Like
I've been dealing with it for years, and I can tell you that dealing with different psychiatrists of different like ethnicities, races, has been challenging in getting like what the help that I need. And sometimes it was like, well, now that I have a psychiatrist that's like African American and like she's a minority, I feel like I feel more understood than I did when I was when I had a Indian doctor or a white doctor. And like it's like they did try their best to help me, but I feel like they didn't get it in certain aspects.
There's certain concepts that they won't understand.
They were like, huh, like what? And it's just like one of those things. So I don't know, I feel like there has been some good things about it. Yeah, maybe now the world is so open now. There's just so many other things that come about. There's men that are like, and women, and just folks, I'm just gonna say people that are gender fluid. So it's just like all the lines are blurred at this point.
Now, speaking of mental health, and speaking of the work-life balance, we live in a time now where everything is so damn high and unaffordable.
It'll scare you to death.
But in some cases, it's forcing some people to have to get more than one job. And imagine the effect on your mental health that has to take. Because how do you balance work and life? JaVae, as a matter of fact, you had to work more than one job.
I couldn't. Yeah, so I called one of my bosses a stupid bitch recently, and I quit.
Dive into that. Why? What led up to that?
Honestly, so I actually came in late. He was late too. Fuck him. He was late. I came in an hour later than him. He left something for me to do, right? And then I had a question. The only thing I wanted to ask was a question. I was like, well, why was this left here for me? There's other niggas here. You know what I'm saying? There's been other niggas here since Saturday. Why is this left for me until Tuesday? That's the only question. I said, I'll do it. Right? I have no issue moving. I have no issue doing the task.
Right.
I'm just saying, why was this left here for me? That's all I was asking. He got emotional about it and, started telling me to go home. Like, you can't send me home. I'm a permanent anyway, that's not important. I called him a stupid bitch because he wasn't good at his job, right? I also called him a stupid bitch because I realized that he wasn't intelligent enough to communicate what was really wrong with him. He's having issues at home, right? I know for a fact that whatever the problem was, he didn't really have the problem with me. So I tried to communicate that to him calmly, like, hey, I feel like all of this that you're giving me right now isn't really even about me. And after a while, I just got mad. And I was like, yo, you're fucking stupid. I quit. Fuck you.
Right.
But all of that being said, like, yo, the mental health, like, it affects how you even make your money. It affects how you interact with your employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are an employer, shit, man.
How did working 2 jobs affect?
But working 2 of them shits, like, dog, I was drained.
Yeah.
I didn't even have time to like put into the shit that I really wanted to like put time into because I was exhausted.
Yeah, I remember talking to you and you'd be like, dog, I'm so fucking tired.
I was so tired, but God, the money was looking good though. The money was looking good.
And that goes back to the question of, did that money, seeing that money, did that make you happy? Did it bring you that happiness? Or were you like...
On payday, yeah.
like
when the payday came, I was like, this is worth it. Fuck it. I'll keep doing this. Like, this is worth. But like, honestly, ever since I like quit that other job, I felt like I felt more free.
Mm-hmm.
I felt more free, and like I was like, dog. I started asking myself the question, like, why did I ever do that to myself?
I feel that. I also at one point had 3 jobs because I run my own nonprofit.
Yeah.
I work for a nonprofit, and then I decided to take a temporary job, a seasonal job at the Gaylord. Worst decision ever because I have not been front facing customer service like that in about, I want to say 12 years. So I forgot how shitty it was to have that kind of customer service job where people treat you like shit.
Yeah.
Talk to you any kind.
Oh my God, you're crazy. And the way my mouth is set, I will professionally disrespect you right back. And I'm gonna clap back loud. And they were paying me good, honestly. I was able to, you, when I saw that paycheck, I was like, damn, this is good money. Because I got to pay off a lot of stuff. And so I was able to meet my goals. But if I'm going to say that it was worth it, no, it was not. My mental health took a toll. For sure, I felt burnt out. I'm a mom of 3 and I share custody with my ex-husband. So the girls are with me pretty much every week. And so on top of that, and then going to work, I work luckily from home from my main job and then also with my nonprofit. So a lot of the work was just having the energy to focus and actually come up with ideas. For both of those organizations, I'm building programs, right? So I have to come up with policies, procedures, and I was so burnt out with from and overstimulated from dealing with people that by the time I came to do that work, I wasn't able to give it my best. I was barely making it.
Were you kind of checked out at a certain point?
I quit. I was it was an incident where I was working with my best friend pretty much. He was a manager.
You told him. Yeah.
And this stupid ass fight broke out. Y'all don't know how many fucking fights broke out. But I had enough that day. I ran literally from one end of that Gaylord to the other. Almost had an asthma attack trying to get somebody to break up the fight. Mind you, I didn't even know I was pregnant already by then. So I was just oh my God. I told him.
She called me and she was like,
yeah.
And she had ran from one end.
I was I can't talk. They're fighting.
I was like, baby, take a break. I
was I'm trying. But I quit. I told my best friend, I was like, look, bro, I appreciate this opportunity. It really did help me pay off a lot of my debt because, we're in the process of trying to get a home and stuff. So I was but it was not worth my mental health. And then it made me also appreciate people that do that kind of work, customer service and any hospitality work. It's hard. People talk crazy. Oh my goodness. I was I'm
in that type of work now.
Yeah.
And I find myself every day having to correct people. Every day.
You gotta leave that shit at work though. You can't even take it
that
home.
Yeah.
Because
it'll fuck with your mind.
Oh my God, it fuck with my mind, JaVae. I was this white man cussed me out, called me a Mexican. I said, first of all, I'm Salvadorian. I said, if you're gonna insult me, at least insult me correctly with your old ass. And then he was like, I'm gonna go outside and go fuck this job. I was like, report these nuts. I don't care. I was so pissed.
She called me. I was ready to pull up,
I was and then my best friend was working there, so he pulled up. He's like, what the fuck you saying? and it was like, yo, we do not give a fuck about this job. But for folks that really like, I didn't technically need it. Like, it was extra money, but like for folks that like really like need those jobs and like that's like their livelihood, I'm like, yo, like this is hard.
Yeah.
I think working a job like that made me appreciate when I go out and I have to interact with people who need, like, today I had an incident today. I don't really directly deal with customers. It's a rare occasion where like a homeowner might come out and say, hey, what are you guys doing? You know? But even today we were doing a job this morning and this guy comes out and he's pushing a baby stroller. And we have our setup. We have the sidewalk closed signs around our work zone. And he comes out and he's like, you guys need to fucking move these signs so people can see where the fuck the sidewalk's closed. And I hear him talk like this to the new guy that's on our crew. And I turn around, I'm like, fuck is your problem? You can't read? You can't, like, the sidewalk closed.
Yeah.
Go the fuck around. Your entitled ass just wants to like walk through the work zone.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk around. You want to be entitled.
I'd have said, fuck you, go around.
Somebody fuck, you can't read?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck wrong with you? Sidewalk closed. If everybody else can see that the sidewalk's closed, what makes you so special?
Yeah.
The fucking sign needs to be moved back.
Yeah.
I'd have been ignorant and be like, no, hablo inglés. And walk the fuck away and flick his bitch ass off because like, what the fuck you talking to? It's the disrespect for me.
It's the disrespect, but it made me appreciate like going out to eat. Like when we went out to eat, every time we go out to eat, which is rare, but when we go out to eat, it makes me appreciate those workers that have to come behind us, right? Or even deal with us. Like I try to be.
People treat service workers bad. Like
I do.
Yeah.
I hate
like
it.
me and Ron are always like, okay, let's tip like
tip
like a good percentage. Like if somebody's like really great, you're gonna get 18 to 20%. Sometimes if you excellent, you get 25% from me.
Yeah.
But for at least like basic, at least like even if the service wasn't that great, like I'll do anywhere from 10 to 15%. But my baseline is always 15 because I'm like, I know that's like what they like live off. So I can't. I have zero respect for someone that treats people like shit, especially like service workers. It's hard work.
It's very
because I be looking at this. I be looking at some of these people that talk crazy. Like, bitch, I'll shut your water off. Now you can't wash your ass.
Yeah.
Like,
I told one dude. I told one dude the other night. He had called down. I work in a hotel. For those of you who don't know, it sucks. But there was this one dude who called down like complaining about his internet, and like he was yelling. I was like, sir, I said, are you unhappy with your service here today? I said, because I could happily cancel your reservation. I can happily do that for you if you're unhappy, and you can vacate the premises and find somewhere else to stay for this evening.
Yeah, that'll satisfy you.
Yeah, that'll satisfy you. Then they start to. You gotta learn little ways to like
kill them with kindness.
Yeah. I said, sir, I'm so sorry. Are you not enjoying your stay here this evening? I could cancel your reservation and you can go elsewhere. Fuck that nigga, man. That's how I do it now. Whenever they get are you unhappy with your service?
Just be real kind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at de-escalation. I'm not gonna lie to you, but sometimes I choose violence, and I'm like, you got me fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like probably the reason why I am in the role that I am now. But I'm also very thankful because I started in customer service. Okay, I started there, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna fight somebody. So I'm like, I need to build myself up to where I am behind the scenes, and that's kind of like I enjoy doing that nowadays. So it made me appreciate my job and those workers because I'm good at like conflict resolution, but I'd rather not. Sometimes people really cross that line for me where it's hard for me to like focus on this. Like, I don't give a fuck about actually resolving this. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But
like you push the button, you cross the line. I can't let that slide.
God, especially in PG County, it's why I don't go anywhere. Like if I don't, he knows I do not even like the harbor. I hate the service there.
Oh, you don't like the National Harbor?
I don't like the harbor.
I don't like my coworker. Don't like that.
I don't like anything in PG County. Pretty much almost everything in Maryland, like except for maybe like Northern Maryland. I don't know. It's and the part of the reason it's not really some of the service workers' fault is I think they deal with like assholes all day. So like, you kind of get the tail end of that. And
it's
like
the environment.
Yeah, and so it's like I would gladly drive 40 minutes out or even go to VA and give my money because I'm just like I don't want to go into that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, even going back to like the working two jobs and like mental health, I had something quick to say about that before we shift gears. The job that I do, which is change water meters, right? That pretty much down there is two jobs for me because sometimes I got to pull a double shift.
Yeah.
Like I gotta work, and then once I get off my regular shift, I gotta go back that same night at work until like my regular shift, which is like till usually 6 in the morning. But the thing is, I have the luxury of taking off, the next day.
And then you have a physical toll too. Like it takes a lot of like
it takes a physical,
like on top of having like dealing with the bullshit and politics in there. Like it's like a mental and physical thing. Like
but I want to take the shift, and I want to gravitate more so towards solely talking about mental health.
Okay.
Given that I'm somebody who, I'm not going to say I was ignorant to it before, but I guess I could say I wasn't as well educated as I am now, because it wasn't a prevalent thing for me growing up. Even if my parents did experience, some type of like depression or some type of breakdown, I never saw that.
Yeah.
It was hidden from me. So they probably did it, when I wasn't in the room, or I was asleep in my bed somewhere, and they were like, breaking down because of finances or whatever. But now we live in an age where, like you said, it's prevalent. It's being acknowledged everywhere by everybody. And you two are two people that I know closely that suffer from it. So for you guys, I guess what I'm trying to ask is how did you come to cope with it, and how do you cope with it now? Like when you first realized something's wrong, like what steps did you take to find help? Or
You can go first, Evelyn.
I have a long story. I for me, it started at a really young age, actually. And I know I mentioned about like I was raised by a single mom. My biological dad, pretty much left at a very young age. So I experienced it at a very young age where I used to tell my mom I had like suicide thoughts. And my mom would be like, "You're crazy, like, stop playing like that." And so I just kind of just brushed it under the rug. And around like when I was 12 and 13, I started to self-harm. So it was like a way to like kind of release some of the things I couldn't express what I was feeling, because I was told like you gotta repress it, right? So I used to cut. This is why I tied it right here, because it's covering those scars for me, and like on like some of my thighs too. And then I did, as a teenager, try to commit suicide several times. Like my mom, when I was younger, I didn't understand it, but I actually feel so bad for putting my mom through that now, because I didn't have the help that I needed. But as a parent now, I'm like, I can't imagine like seeing your kid go through that. And then I also got misdiagnosed. It goes back to like just them saying oh, you're depressed, or you have anxiety, and not really trying to like analyze you. So my first run-in was in high school, where they were like, yeah, you have like a deep depression and you suffer from anxiety. And then that was my diagnosis. When I was 19, I tried to commit suicide again, and actually almost was successful. One, because I was really allergic to what I took, and I had to get my stomach pumped. And I went into like a psych ward, and that was by far the most horrible experience ever. I was like super young, had like no idea like how to cope with that at that moment. I remember there was a counselor there, this older Black guy, and he was like, you're gonna be fine, like we're gonna get you help. And I was just like, all I could think of was like, oh my God, how did I get here? Ended up getting like my depression meds and stuff like that. But it wasn't helping. It was helping, but it wasn't helping, if that makes sense. And fast forward to last year, where I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling suicidal. I'm going to check myself in, because something was like not like it. I was just like, I keep having these intrusive thoughts, and it comes in waves, because sometimes I'll be extra happy and extra like, oh yeah, like I can take on anything. And then it went from that to being extremely depressed. And that led to my diagnosis of me being bipolar. And I was getting the wrong meds. So the reason why I was depressed and anxious was because that stemmed from me being bipolar. And so I got put on mood stabilizers, and that shifted that completely to where I wasn't depressed, I wasn't suicidal, and I wasn't anxious. And so like, had they obviously caught that early on, I would have probably been okay. But I think a lot of times for me it was like I was trying to brush it under the rug because my parents were like, oh, that's not real. Until they saw it and like they were like, oh my God, like this really affects our daughter. Like they're like, why didn't, like, I remember my mom and my dad saying, well, why didn't you come to us? And I was like, I did.
Yeah.
And you guys are like,
can I ask you? And I'm gonna ask you the same question, but can I ask you? And again, this ain't to like exploit y'all or nothing. I think like whoever listens to this or watches this, it might help them in the long run to see that they're not alone. But in the Spanish community or the Latino, Latinx community, that's not a normal thing, right?
oh no.
Mental health.
Oh no. I definitely am the black sheep of my family. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, she's crazy, or like she got issues. A lot of folks didn't know that was because I'm bipolar. Like I get overstimulated, and so like sometimes people are like, you're antisocial. No, I'm overstimulated, and I really genuinely certain things to me feel more heightened, or I'm hypersensitive, and that stems from that too. So I understand that it's challenging to deal with me. Also, it's like a taboo conversation. You know, they're like, what? Like she tried to like my mom's like, don't tell anybody that you're bipolar. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not.
Don't be ashamed of it.
I'm not. I am not. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of like my mental health, because I know that there's people, especially in my community, including in my family. Like now, a lot of my cousins, they're like, I suffer from, depression. I'm bipolar. I have anxiety, and I feel like I want to empower them. So like, yeah, like I'm glad that I'm so happy that you got help, and don't feel like you have to suffer in silence. But a lot of Hispanics too, because parents either think that it's based off like some demonic spiritual shit, or
raining like shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I was like, what is that?
We're good.
Or they're just like, we don't get depressed. That's crazy talk.
Or just pray on it.
Yeah, and I hate when people tell me that shit. It's gonna get better. And I know people mean well when they say that, but I'm like, you don't understand how intense this feels for me. And it's hard to like navigate through. And on the flip side, I feel bad for those that have to deal with me. Like, thank God. I mean, Ronell has dealt with some shit with me, but it hasn't been like as bad as like how my parents and my ex-husband, I give him that, he dealt with the worst of me, because it was like I was undiagnosed, I was unmedicated, and it got crazy. None of my kids knew this except for my oldest now. She like, I opened up to her and I told her, because she's suffering from some of those things. But yeah, I had to kind of fight through those things and not give a fuck about what they thought, to get myself in a place where I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. Me being bipolar just has not stopped me from meeting any of my goals. I have my own nonprofit. I have worked myself up the ladder. I'm intelligent. That doesn't define me, but I feel more empowered now that I know what's wrong with me, and I can tell with the medication, like the shift in me of like, it actually works. So it's been a journey, and I know that I'm gonna have to live with this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it never goes away.
No, unfortunately. Yeah.
I think I've never dealt with, like I said, mental health. As a youth, as a young kid, I had those dumbass like thoughts, like, what happened if I jump out this window? Like, or if I'm holding a knife, I used to be like, damn, I wonder if I stab myself right now, like what would happen? But I could never pull myself to go through with it, right? Or like if I'm in a pool or something, I'd be like, I'm about to see how long I can hold my breath underwater. Like that was about like,
yeah, those intrusive thoughts are like real though. Like I think they were different. Like for me personally, what led me to like being suicidal was me being overstimulated and overwhelmed, and then I started to feel like, oh my God, I keep fucking up. Like I'm not a good mom, and honestly, I'm a bomb ass mom. Okay,
these are the things I told your ass.
I'm a bomb ass mom, and he'll tell me, he's like, stop it, don't say you're a bad mom. But it's like because he sees me in those moments where I'm having like, oh shit, I'm like a fucked up person, like I fucking suck. But in reality, it's the intrusive thoughts, and because we feel more intensely, it gets to that point where like he can say that, but I don't believe it, because my mind is in that place. Once I like move past that moment and like I get through that, it's like, okay, I can think clearly. But when you're in that moment, you can't think logically at all.
And that's what she told me, especially last year when we had an incident. I caught the tail, like kind of like the tail end of it, where she was already in the process of getting help. But I think that was a defining point for me to be like, oh, this shit is like real.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is real.
I think
Even for like you, like that.
Yeah. When it started when I was young too. I realized I was Ronell can tell you I'm like I've always been like very perceptive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I be listening to shit people saying. I listen to shit people not saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that. I listen to how people say things and how they word things all the way down to like every interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I just listen. I like to be quiet and just let people talk. Cause like I've always been like that. I've always been like really perceptive. And I like God. I also dealt with intrusive thoughts. And the fact that like I can like the fact that I could always like see through what a lot of people were saying and like stuff like that. I don't think it made it any better because I realized how much people lie.
Oh my God, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand.
I realized how much people lie and all of that, and like it affects the way you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It affects the way you see other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like even as a kid, like I was sad like a lot. And it was like I could never explain why. I could never explain why I was like fucked up. Even my mother would ask me sometimes, and like it wasn't like a lack of trying for her. I just genuinely didn't understand how to like express that shit because I was always told like you supposed to keep shit like that to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to say. Even now, I struggle finding like the right words to like express what's on my mind. But like as far as like, I've tried self-harm. I tried killing myself 2 years ago.
I remember that call.
Yeah, I tried. Well, not 2 years ago. It's 3 at this point. I tried killing myself 3 years ago. I think once I started therapy, like things turned around because like it's like what you were saying. Like I understand what things are now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm able to like rationalize myself. Like rationalize what's going on in my head like better. Like when I'm feeling a certain way, I can stop and ask myself, okay, wait a minute, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you actually, like, you know, why are you feeling so angry or so upset or so sad? Like it helps me better analyze it so I can get to the root of the problem. Rather like these days I don't fly off the handle no more. Like I'm you know, I try to relax, and because now I have that in my head. Like no, sit back, like don't react. Like sit back and think, like, why do you feel this way? Like, what is it about you that makes you feel this way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because like I say on this show all the time, you can't control what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
You can control how you respond to it, though. So that's what, like, if anything, like that's what this whole mental health journey is like teaching me. Like it doesn't really matter like what's going on outside. It's like, yo, like what are you doing to fix yourself? Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to add on to what you were saying about like not being able to control what other people do, but controlling what you do. That's something I'm still struggling.
Yeah.
And still like trying to work with myself.
It's hard.
And I like you said earlier, I feel like I'm failing at it. I feel like I'm almost failing at it. I'm not succeeding, maybe not at a rate that I think I should be succeeding, right? I don't want it to be like it's empty words. Like I'm saying like, oh, I'm getting better, and then I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I say all that to say is I talked with my mom yesterday, and I told her, because as y'all know me, I'm a very reactive person. Y'all both know this. I'm a hothead. You've seen the worst of me.
Yeah.
But I finally, I guess, came to terms with I need help with my anger.
Go to therapy, bro.
And that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Went to betterhelp.com. I signed on.
Good shit.
Signed up. And I'm about to see where that can
yeah, bro.
or what I can get from that.
BetterHelp is good. That's how I was seeing my therapist through BetterHelp. I actually have to like start sessions again because it was like for like a certain stint. Then I have to like change the payment and get back on. But
it took me a while to get there because even like you said, like when things got down to like me and Avery's mom, and you saw how out of character she got me, and she drew that reaction from me every time while she could just stay calm.
Yeah.
And like you said, I got tired of like, now I'm at the point where I'm just tired of letting people get that out of me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I overreact.
Yeah, and because and because it's such a until one learns to master themselves, like how they respond to shit, other people will always be able to manipulate you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And
like,
even going back to when we talked about our moms.
Exactly. Yeah.
Walk past and like they mumble under their breath and that
they know
what buttons to push.
Yeah.
Even talking about that with my mom, and I'm just like, she's like, well, you know, sometimes I do say those things because I want you to do what I want you to do right then and there. And I might fly off the handle and overreact because I'm taking everything as an attack. Yeah. Instead of, they just want me to do better. Yeah. Even sometimes when me and Evelyn have disagreements, like I learned afterwards, after the heat of the moment has calmed down and it's cooled down, I'm like, maybe I did overreact. Yeah. I'm like, maybe she just want me to do better. Maybe she just want me to like, you know, improve upon like something that I'm not doing. Like, and I look at myself and I'm like, that was really unnecessary. Yeah. Like that's childish.
But those are the steps you gotta you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta go through the things to realize like, oh, something is off. You know what I'm saying?
Like, because then when you think about it afterwards, I'm like, well, they not wrong.
Yeah.
You know what they're saying isn't wrong. So why did I take it? As an attack? Why did I?
It's a trigger. I mean, I can relate to you in the sense of like you have issues. The way that Summer communicated with you. Juan used to do the same thing to me, so where he will make me feel crazy or like he'll make me feel stupid, and I felt like, so anytime somebody says something to me, I will be ready to attack. He'll be like, you're defensive, like, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And then it's like I didn't realize I was being defensive, and I had to like be like, oh, okay, you're being defensive because you're so used to trying to like, you know, clear your name or defend yourself that you're not realizing that this person has good intent. And so sometimes it's just unlearning those behaviors. So I, you know, even like when we have our disagreements, like one thing that we have in the forefront is not to disrespect each other. I can say that I did not keep that up with Juan. Sorry, Juan, I called you everything.
Shit, I ain't keep that shit up with someone either.
I called you everything but a child of God. And because I let him get under my skin, and one thing that I learned is I'm explosive. I got an attitude, and y'all can catch these hands. But I'm like, I don't want to live my life that way. If I can't express myself in a way that like, okay, you're gonna understand me, then you know that's fine. We just don't need to deal with each other. Yeah. But I also understand that when you've dealt with somebody that's like mentally like abused you, and I feel like that's when he explained to me some of the things that Summer used to do, I was like, damn, that's kind of some of the things that Juan used to do. It's like those mind games, and so it's then hard for you to distinguish when somebody has good intent or when they don't. And so I think sometimes when we get into conversations and I'm very stern, I try to be mindful of my tone, but I guess sometimes I get a little frustrated and it can be like triggering. I think it might sometimes trigger those points. And so like once I see that he's getting there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just shut up, because right now clearly is not the time to have that conversation. And me and his mom are really close. And so like, you know, Nana's like, sometimes she's like, it's just not the time to bring up that conversation. She's like, sometimes you got to assess the situation. And if like, it's like getting to that point, she's like, you know, pause the conversation, and then once you're calm, then have that conversation, because then they'll be more receptive to that. Yeah. Sometimes it's like you're in the moment, you're already like feeling attacked, that you're not going to listen. And I know that in my case, at least, if I'm feeling attacked, I'm going to shut down and be like, no, fuck you. Like, what?
I'm very much the same way.
Yeah. And I think for me, like a trigger point was when like people I felt ganged up on. Like my back was against the wall, I started lashing out. Especially like when I felt ganged up on, like I now think that triggered the insecurity in me because I'm like, how nobody fucking agree with me? Yeah. I know I'm making sense up here.
Yeah,
but I might not be making sense out here, but nobody agree.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, I'm getting ganged up on. Fuck y'all.
Yeah,
like that's what
I mean, yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's fair.
That triggered an insecurity for me, I guess, and that's why I probably lashed out.
Yeah,
you know, a couple times, but. Even me and her, we had an agreement where we would never disrespect, no matter how. Like, we had this system where it's not perfect, but some days, you know, we take each other there, and then it escalates. But we never go out of like our way to call each other names.
I
have
a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
Do y'all think that like if anybody like your other half gets like the worst of like whatever might be wrong with you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as like mental health goes, right? Do you think like it's always like a consistent thing? Like you mentioned the manipulation from y'all's old partners or whatever. Like I've had the same thing happen to me, but I know I've also been that person, right?
The manipulator.
Not even so much the manipulator, but like, well, yeah, no, like in some way, because like. Insecurity and stuff like that, like manipulators operate based off of their own insecurity. That's why they're so good at manipulating people, because like they understand their own insecurities so well. So you know how to pick at someone else's insecurities, right? You're able to recognize it, right? I feel as though like people's partners get the worst of like, because this is your person, you know what I'm saying? And so they get the best and the worst of you because this is your person. And so like it's almost like a burden for them to bear. Yeah. Not to call it a burden, but you get what I'm saying.
No, but I
like,
get what you're saying.
It's
like part of it though.
It's a part of.
It's like the good and the bad, right?
The good and the bad. Like I can also recognize that like, yo, that's happened to me, but I've also been that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To the point where like I've said some things. It's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. And it's.
Yeah.
But like being able to recognize it is a step. You know, like,
and that's where people kind of lack that kind of ability piece. For me, I feel like, yes, I do agree with that. I feel like Ronell gets sometimes the best of me, sometimes he gets like the worst of me, especially because I'm under a lot of pressure in many different ways, right? And sometimes that's not fair. He'll call me out and be like, oh, you're just mad at me because you're having a bad day. And sometimes I don't even realize that I'm doing it. But like him telling me that, even though it pisses me off in the moment, I keep it in the forefront of being mindful. And so like I'm like, hey, I'm having a bad day today, so if I'm quiet, like know that it's not you, it's just me not trying to be a bitch to you because I've had a fucked up day. On the flip side, being a manipulator, I don't think so. I think that for me, I was the person that got manipulated. In my past relationship, it was my partner was really insecure, and I'm a super loyal person. I don't like lying. I'm really bad at lying, and so it's part of that is part of me, my mental health too. And so like the anxiety that it gives me to lie, like I'd rather not. I'd rather just tell the truth. So I got manipulated a lot, and so that's a triggering point for me when someone's like, let me check your phone, or let me do this, and I'm like you have access to all of this, but like it's just like the manipulation piece because you're the one that's doing that stuff, and you're projecting onto that me. And then the fact, like, you know, making me feel like I'm crazy. My ex used to do this a lot. Like he'd be like, oh, you know, you're like too friendly with people, and I'm a very cordial person. Like if I talk, like I go around like hi, like, you know, I don't try to cross that line, but I do know that some folks like take that my politeness in the wrong way, and I'm very happy to clarify that really quickly. But it would be like that projection, and then it would turn into this like manipulation like system, and it would affect my mental health. So in a way, yes, I do think my mental health affected him, but also his insecurities took such a toll on me, and it affected my mental health. Yeah. And like with Ronell, I don't have we have like pretty solid communication. Ronell's like not an insecure person, and I realized that I thought I was, but I'm not. I feel like if my partner is someone that I can trust and like can reassures me, and he constantly reassures me, he's like my biggest cheerleader and supporter, like for whatever I do, like I'm not like that. I'm not a jealous person. I'm a territorial person. No, don't play with me.
Same.
But
I don't like shit.
but I feel like I don't, because of all these things, it's hard for me to cross that line with Ronell and be like disrespectful. Even though sometimes when, you know, with your mental health, like sometimes we can lash out and like, it gets ugly, JaVae.
Yeah.
And honestly, part of me doesn't blame my ex for like feeling the way he felt. Sometimes it's like some of the shit he had to deal with was fucking crazy. Because sometimes it, like, I even tell him, I'm like, listen, like, if one day you're like, look, this is too much for me, I understand, because it is a give and take. And like you said, it is like we give them the good and the bad.
Yeah, the good and the like. Yeah. And you know, I think, God, man, that's why some of my relationships, like, I can look back on a lot of them like fondly.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I'm happy I got away from that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, absolutely.
I can do both a lot of the time. I feel like, because I didn't like who I was a lot of the time. You know, as much as I didn't like who they were a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Accountability is a big part of the journey too.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Yeah, there were times where, like I said, we have a system where, like, when we have disagreements, we make it a thing and not call each other out of our names. I can't bring myself to do it with her. With my exes, sure. I felt like they deserved it. Yeah. But I felt like, I'm not saying that proudly. Like, yeah, I called her a bitch because that bitch was a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
No, like, they got you out of your
Yeah, they got me out of my character.
Yeah.
But with her, I can't bring myself to do, no matter how mad I am. I can't bring myself to do it. It don't feel good. It don't feel right. If it doesn't feel necessary. So we have this system where we get too heated, we take a break, and like one of us will leave the room or something, or we'll pause the conversation. We'll wait till we cool down, and then we're able to express ourselves. And we're not replying or responding with the intent of being hurtful. We're listening to each other, and we're replying with understanding.
That's wonderful.
It's hard.
It's hard.
No, it's hard.
It's hard though.
It's hard.
I'm sure.
It's hard because we're both hotheads. Like, we're both like, I'm like, Ronell, I'm calling you all types of bitches and fucking mama and all that. But one, like, I love Nana, so shout out to Nana. And two, I have like a big deal of respect for him. Like, I even like if we didn't like work out for some reason, I feel like I would still like happily co-parent with him. And like, we started on such like a respectful like foot, and it was just like such a good like startup that I don't feel the need to cross that line with Ronell. I don't know, I can't do it. As many times as I done called everybody a bitch and fuck you and all this other shit, I can't do it. Like, I'm like, oh, he makes me so mad, but I can't find myself like to like, I can't do it at all. So sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I gotta talk to his mom and be like, oh my God, like, how do you, is it me? Or sometimes I come back and talk to him, and I have, you know, my select few folks that I talk to, because I don't like people in my business. But sometimes it's like, is it me? Is it how I'm communicating things? Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes my mental health, like, I'll overthink everything. And he's so nonchalant, so it's like a triggering point for me where I'm like, am I doing something wrong? It's like, is something wrong? His body language. And it's like I start to overthink, and it goes into this like, and he's like, no, I'm chilling, I'm good. Like, again, the reassurance piece. I think if you're gonna have a partner that has mental health issues, you got to be ready for that.
It's a journey. I think most people have mental health.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think a lot of people aren't. Undiagnosed.
Yeah, undiagnosed. I think, especially in this day and age, I think most people how we were talking about, like, how, like, all these like all the finances and shit like that. I feel like that's people's main thing right now. Is like, it's crushing. Like all this working and in this work culture where, hey, you have to get up, and you, like, especially as men, you have to get up and you have to provide all of that, right? Like, I think most people are suffering from some type of, like, whether even if it's like a mild, so to speak,
right?
I don't think there's any such thing as like a mild mental health issue. I always think it's like, if it's like, if it's something you notice is something deeper that you're not, like, you probably don't, like, not even looking at. And I learned that I used to just think I was a sad person because I was a sad person. You know what I'm saying? Some people get to live happy and some people get to live sad, but that's not the case. The truth is,
it doesn't like me.
It doesn't.
That ain't sad.
Yeah. but you know, it's I think everybody's going through more than what they know.
I feel like people are still somewhat ashamed to admit that they have mental health, because although there's a lot of help out there, I think people care too much of what people think
The
of them.
perception. Yeah.
The perception. Like I think people are scared of getting labeled.
Bro, once I realized everybody else is fucked up out here too.
He's like,
you like, fuck
listen,
it,
I'm
alright.
fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also some people just think it's normal. I
Or
think
they're
it's
not-
normal.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is like
Yeah.
what you're. I mean, you're an adult, so you're supposed to stress out. And it's like, it's really an extreme though. Like once you realize that, like the things that you experience are out of the norm, then you're like, oh, okay, so you don't do this. You
Yeah.
don't sit here, like. Yeah, like I'm telling you, the way that I mentally prep like is insane. Ronell's like, do not look at the menu ahead of time. Do not like. I'm like,
I'm like, just be surprised. She's like, nah, I need to know.
I'm like, I need to know. Like, I'm like, okay, we gotta be here at this time. And he's like, why? Like, I'm like, I need, like, it's just like my anxiety could
Yeah.
get like, and sometimes it stops me from like,
I noticed
living
that a
my best
lot.
life.
Girls do that a lot. Have you ever noticed
We're
that?
broken. It's like,
But you ever notice like girls do that a lot? They'll be like, no, I have to know like what's going on at the
And you
restaurant.
just want to surprise them.
Yeah.
Ronell hates us. He's spontaneous,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, plan. So yeah, I think it sometimes ruins the experience. Like I think with Ronell, he's taught me to be a little more spontaneous and like not so in control. And I mean in control of like those things. Like
I told one girl, like, yo, you need to chill, sit down. Like, sit down.
Yeah, she used to do stuff though. Like she used to do stuff.
He's like,
she'd be like, I
stop.
gotta do this. I'd be like, would you sit the hell down and
Yeah.
let me do
Yeah,
something?
it makes me
for you?
nervous and shit. I'm like, yo.
He's like, stop.
Not even that. I was just like, let me do something.
Yeah, let me do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
We joked around about this, like about how like I complain about nobody helping me clean, but it's because I like to clean in a specific way and he doesn't do it my way. And then he was like, yeah, but you can't have it both ways. You can't complain and then not let me do it. And I was like, true, damn, I gotta shut up. I gotta let him do it. So yeah, I think sometimes mental health shows up in different ways.
It's,
It's just,
yeah.
you know.
I'd be like, I did the dishes. And she'd be like, I was going to get them.
Yeah.
Like, but I did them.
It's like a competition though. Like what? Like what are you trying to say? Like I don't know. I feel like I overthink things that like shouldn't be like, you know, I'm like, he'll be like, oh, I'm gonna pay for this. I'm like, you sure? Like that's a lot. Like, and I'm like, I start to overthink it. He's like, can you just let me pay for shit? And I'm like, fine, okay. And like his mom, oh my God, Nana's like, every time we go out, she wants to pay. And if I'm like, okay, Nana, I'm gonna tell you, she looks at me and one day she was like, girl, stop fucking playing with me. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay. I was like, sorry, Nana. And yeah, so I just like, I have a hard time letting people do for me. Like the hyper independence isn't like really a compliment. It's like it stems from my mental health.
You know, I catch myself doing that now too. Like I like to do things for myself because I don't never want anybody to say, oh, remember when I did this for you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, yeah.
I hate that.
Here's the weird. Yeah, I hate that shit too. Because I'm like, I never asked you to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
But going back to that, it's just weird though, that now we got to the point where like if I'm about to pay and she dares reaching for her wallet, sometimes I let her have it. You know, I'm like, all right, she wants to, you know, feel good. But for the majority of the time, I give her ass a look.
He's like,
you better put that shit down.
he used to be like, put that shit away. And then now he just be like, side eye me. And I'm like, okay.
And then there's times where I let her, like sometimes I'll be like, all right.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna treat you. And he's like, okay. But like, yeah, I think it's that I've had that backlash with people, and so like I have it's like again going back to like assuming that good intent and unlearning those behaviors and knowing that it's like an individual thing. And I learned that in therapy, like laying things out on the table. I didn't want to circle back to that because a lot of people think, oh, going to therapy is what they're fixing you, and in reality they're teaching you tools to help
you fix yourself
and like figure out like layers of why you're experiencing what you're experiencing.
The hard work is ultimately on you.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're not gonna like do the work for you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it takes honest. Like, you have to be honest.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, you know, JaVae is, everybody knows, Pete, I said this like plenty of times throughout this podcast, but just reiterating the fact that JaVae is like family to me. So when JaVae has been down bad financially, I cover them a lot of the times, and I've never once like thrown it in his face. I can't, because I would hate that to be done to me.
Yeah.
And JaVae has covered me. I've been down, and never once have I heard JaVae, no matter how mad we got at each other, we've had a few clashes throughout our life.
Yeah.
But he never once, and nor have I never once said, nigga, I did this
shit. I
like,
did this shit. No.
Well, that's
like,
what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. I feel like for me, I have like my best
For any of our bros, actually.
No.
Go ahead.
There's never been a thing. No matter what other disagreements may come
Yeah.
about, there's never that.
I have a selective few. I feel like for me, 'cause some of y'all, you know who you are. I ain't gonna shout you out, but you know who you are. I still love you though. But for me and my best friend, like me and my best friend Rock, like I feel like that's how we are. Like I got you, you got me type shit. Like sometimes we'll have our disagreements because we both are like, hard headed. But like we've always had the mentality like if you're down, then I got you, and vice versa. And he's like really hands-on with my kids and stuff like that. Like my daughters love their Uncle Rock. And then my cousin, who was my best friend, and my sister, shout out to Josie, she like to like if anything, like if I needed anything, like especially like when I lost my job, like she was there. She was always trying to help me and stuff. And it was never like, oh girl, I got I did this for you, or I paid this for you. Like it's just one of those unspoken rules, right?
I feel like I want to say this too before we get too close to the end, because I feel like she needs this. My mom, right? Y'all know she has a big ass heart.
Yeah.
Like she'll do anything for anybody, any time of the day. Don't matter, right? I feel like she's always got the shit end of the stick in the long run. People always fucked her over. And in my head, I'm like, fuck y'all for fucking her over, right?
Yeah.
They know who they are. I'm not going to say any names.
Yeah.
But it's fuck them, because my mother went out her way to see to it that they were comfortable even when they were having the I don't even know how to phrase it. They were down bad. Yeah, hardships. They were down bad. My mother, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about it. I got you. Until you get on your feet, I'm gonna be a cushion for you until you get on your feet. And once they got on their feet, do y'all ever think that they turned around and like thank her?
No.
No, probably not. But that's why she stayed blessed though. And I think it shows a lot about their character and not hers. Of like, okay, she did it out of the goodness of her heart. And for those people, y'all gonna get y'all karma. But for her, she stayed blessed because she's a giving person and she cares. And we and her talked about this recently, and she was like, I feel like me and you are a lot alike in that regard. But I stopped resenting people that did that and put it in a way of like, that's good karma. I'm putting that out in the universe of like, okay, I'm giving back. And that's what I told her. I was like, you know what, fuck them. You did like the right thing. You supported them when they needed it. And at the end of the day, like if they are ungrateful, fuck them again. And just don't deal with them. Like that's that. Like you showed me who you are, and I don't need to deal with you. That's fine. Thank you. Like I don't regret me helping you, and I know she doesn't. She does not regret helping them at all. I think she was more hurt of like, damn, like y'all did me like that, because she did it out of the goodness of her heart. But like now she's like, I know better. And I think that's something that's very admirable of Nana. She's such a like giving person. Like I love her. I'm apparently her number one fan. Ronell gets mad because we gang up on him, but I love Nana.
It pisses me off.
It does, but yeah, I love Nana. She's definitely one of those people that like I can come to, and not only like not even just financially, just for like advice. And I know like she'll like text you too and stuff, and she even says like
all the time.
You're like her bonus son. So yeah, I think even though she does feel bad about it, like how they made her feel, I don't think she ever like regrets helping them. And I think that's like a good mindset to have.
Yeah. She was, like I said, I had a talk with her about my anger, because she's been on the receiving end of some of it, undeserving, of course. And as I'm getting older, I'm kind of acknowledging that. Like I got a fantastic mom.
Yeah, you're blessed.
And she's like supportive.
You are.
No, seriously.
No, seriously. She literally talked to me last night. She said, I sat down and I talked with JaVae one day, and JaVae told me, he said, I wish I had the relationship that you and Ronell had, like with my mom. And even like,
and me and my mother have a great relationship. But
that's what she said. It's not as there. And even my ex Keita, she had told Nana like she had a bad relationship with her mom, and she had told her mom like, "Hey, I wish I had what you and Ronell had." Summer, which I found out through Shane, my sister, for those who don't know, she resented the relationship me and my mom had. She was jealous of it. Cause she didn't have that.
That don't surprise me.
That's weird.
Yeah, she was jealous of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
No,
that's weird to resent that relationship. I think if anything, I take what I see in that and I start to try to implement it with my mom. Because me and my mom have not had a great relationship, but we're getting there. And like Nana always reminds me to like meet my mom where she's at, because my mom has had her past trauma too. So our relationship has gotten better, but I do admire that relationship because like Nana's very empathetic. Like she'll give it to you straight though, but it's coming from a place of love, and just like she's just such a supportive person. So definitely give her flowers.
Yeah, for sure. So if you watch this, Mom, just know, I love you, and appreciate everything you do for me and everybody else. Because she used to ask me like, why do you treat me like an enemy? And I think that's not a trauma, but something within myself that I'm about to explore through this therapy journey.
Do it, man.
Of why I'm so defensive and reactive.
Do it.
So no, I don't think you're an enemy. I'm about to go on a journey and discover why I'm the way I am sometimes. And
do you know what journey we're also about to go on?
Ooh.
You know what journey we're also about to go on?
What journey?
A journey to the parking lot, because our time is wrapping up.
Smooth. Yeah.
But no, man, that's beautiful. We love Nana.
We love you, Nana.
Yeah, we love Nana. Thank you for giving us Ronell.
Thank you for giving me the world.
Yes.
And my name is JaVae Graham. This is Ronell Rashid. This is Evelyn. We're about to sign off, and give your mother, like all of you, give your mother her flowers.
Your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend. Everybody
you love. Give them. Stop working so hard. Stop busting your ass for shit that's not gonna matter later.
Take a mental health day.
Take a mental health day. Shit, take a mental health week.
Yeah, budget.
Like,
comment, subscribe.
Get therapy.
Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, go to therapy.
Get some sleep tonight. Good night.
Yeah. Hey, maybe next episode we can bring some post some like resources or some shit like that people can use to
for therapy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, we wrapping up. Y'all have a good one. This has been Black Men Discuss. As Ronell said, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll be back another time.